Good morning, students. This is your Shanghita ma'am here, and I welcome all of you in my English grammar class today. So we have been discussing about active and passive voice. So in my previous videos, I have discussed with you how you can change the sentences which are in active voice, how you can change the sentence in passive voice, okay, in assertive sentence and in imperative sentence. That I have discussed. Now today in this video we will be discussing about the interrogative sentences, okay. So let's start. So what is an interrogative sentence? An interrogative sentence always asks a question. This type of sentence is usually asked directly to someone, and this type of sentence usually always ends with a question mark. If I ask you, are you listening? Are you paying attention? Are you writing? Okay, so these are some questions that I am asking to you. What is your favorite food? Where do you live? Which class do you read in? How old are you? So these are interrogative sentences. Okay. So how will you change the interrogative active voice, interrogative sentences which are in active voice into passive voice? First of all, you will remember that the sentences will remain interrogative. At the end of the passive voice, you will not going to give full stop. You have to give the question mark at the end. Okay. So the question always remains in interrogative sentence and the answer will also be in interrogative sentence. Okay. It will not change like we do in narration. Okay, you sometimes students get mixed up. They do not understand the differences between the narration and voice change. Okay, so they give full stop. No, the interrogative sentences in voice change, they will end up in question mark. Okay, so do and does, these two things, the two auxiliary verbs, will be changed into am, is or are, okay, according to the subject. Or if it is written in past tense, then it can be changed into was or were according to the subject. Okay, and in passive voice, as I have already discussed this to you, the sentence will always remain an interrogative sentence. It will never be an assertive sentence. Okay, it will always remain an interrogative sentence. That means at the end of this sentence you have to give question mark at the end. Okay, let me tell you students about the rule number 1. If any interrogative sentence starts from do, does or did, then in the passive voice you can write am, is or are or was or were. I have already told you, according to the number and the person of the object. Means, look at the sentence, look at the first sentence. Does he help you? Question mark. So I told you, does, that means simple present tense. It is written in simple present tense, that is why does. If it is written in past tense, it could be written did, but it is not did. So it is simple present tense. So in simple present tense, what we all be writing? I told you that we will be writing am or is or are. That we will be writing. According to the subject, we will be writing. Okay. So here, where is the subject? He. Where is the object? You. Okay, so the basic rule always remains the same. That won't be changed, student. Okay, so you don't have to worry about how the rules, everything will going to change. No, nothing. Only the auxiliary verb that you are writing in assertive sentences, you are writing in the middle of the sentence. But here you will be writing at the at the beginning of the sentence. You have to start your sentence with that auxiliary verb only, that you are writing. Before you are writing in assertive sentences, you are writing in the middle of the sentence, no? Now you will be writing at the beginning of the sentences. Only this much difference you have to remember. Okay, now does he help you? So he is the subject, you know that already because we have already been discussing about it a lot. You, it is the object. Okay, so subject will come to object's place and object will come to subject's place. That much we have learned. So here also the same rule. Okay, same rule, we will follow the same rule only over here. So you comes over here, he becomes him. Okay, now does, I told you in place of does it will be am, is or are. So what is the subject over here? Object becomes subject, so you. So before you cannot write is or you cannot write am. So obviously you have to write are. So here does becomes are. Okay, if I, does he help me, if it is written, then am I, it would be am I. Okay, am I, then it would be. Okay, so look at the subject, you. Okay, so that is why the auxiliary verb is are. Okay, then the third form of the main verb, PP form, past participle form of the main verb, help will be helped. After that by, then he will become him. Then the question mark. Do not forget to give the question mark. Okay, so please do not forget to give the question mark. I am repeating myself because most of the students make this mistake. They do not give question mark at the end. Okay, so remember this. Next, let me give another example. Did he do this work? So did he do this work? Did here it is, you can look at this word and you can understand that it is written in past tense, simple past tense. So in simple past tense, what we will be writing, I told you, was or were. Very simple, only was or were. Okay, so he, subject, this work is the he object. Okay, so this work is the object, so object will come over here, subject will go over here. Okay, so this work we will write. So before this work, I told you, you have to write was or were because it is in simple past tense. So that is why before this work, you cannot write were. Okay, because it is singular in number. So that is why was this work, then the main verb, the third form of the main verb, done. Okay, so was this work done by him? Okay, student, we'll again be discussing. Okay, if you do not understood yet, if I have not understood yet, I'll be discussing again and again. Okay, now if ing, that means continuous tense, if it is there, then how will you be writing? Same that we have already learned. The basic rule will always remain the same. Okay, you have to add being, B-E-I-N-G, being over here. Okay, am, is, are in present tense and was, were and being in past tense. Okay, so are you doing this work? So are you, subject, object, verb, auxiliary verb, main verb. Okay, so subject and object will change their places. Now, so this work, okay, here you have written. Now are it is written. I told you wherever there will be are, am, is, are or do. Okay, here you have to write only am, is, are only. So this work, it is singular in number. So obviously you cannot write am. Before that you cannot write are. So you have to write is. Okay, so is this work being done by you? So why being? Why have I introduced over here being? Because ing is there. And I told you that wherever you will find ing in active voice, then in passive voice you have to add being. And in perfect tense, you have to add been, B-E-E-N, been. Okay, so is this work being done by you? Is, it is the auxiliary verb, then comes the subject, then being, then the third form of the main verb, then by, then the object will become, the subject will become object. Okay, so is this work being done by you? Next, I am giving an example in past continuous tense. In past continuous tense, how will you be writing? Was she reading a novel? So the answer is, was a novel being read by her? Why? Am I writing this? Because was. You can see over here that was is written. Was. That means it is written in past tense. Was reading. That means past continuous tense. At first, whenever you will look at a sentence in active voice or in passive voice, it is written, the first thing that you should be noticing is the tense. Okay, then you will be looking at whether it is assertive sentence or interrogative sentence, whether there is full stop or whether there is question mark. Then you will be finding that where is the subject, where is the object. Okay, the first thing for you is to find out the tense. What is the tense of the subject? That is the foremost important thing. Okay, without that you cannot write a sentence correctly in passive voice. Okay, so always remember that. So was she reading a novel? So novel, object, she, subject, was reading. That means it is written in past continuous tense. Verb plus ing, past continuous tense. So novel and she will change their places. So a novel comes here. So before a novel, what we will be writing? Was or were? Any of the two. That means a novel. That means singular in number. Obviously we cannot write were before a novel. So was a novel. After that being. Why being? Because ing is there. So that is why you have to write being, B-I-N-G, being. Then read. The PP form of read is same. Read, read, same. By her, she will becomes her. So the answer is, was a novel being read by her. Okay. Now let us move to the third rule. Third rule means perfect tense. Okay. It is perfect tense. Present and past perfect tense. How will you write the sentences in present and past perfect tenses? See, has or have, you know that already. And after that, you have to add been in present perfect tense. And in past perfect tense, had, then been. Okay. Now look at the example. Has he helped you? How will you understand it is written in the present perfect tense? Because has helped. Okay, so that is why it is, you can understand that it is written in present perfect tense. So he, subject, you, object. Okay, subject and object will change their places. So you, over here you come at first. After that, look at the verb. What verb we will be adding over here? Has or have? You have to add. I have already told you that you have to add has or have. So what we will be writing? Has or have? It is over here written have. How will you understand? Because you, it is written you. Before you, you cannot write has. Subject is you. So what is the verb? Have, of course it will be have. So have you, has you cannot write. So that is why have you. Have you? Okay, then been. Why? Because it is present perfect tense. So that is why the rule of present perfect tense is been you have to add. So been. After that, the third form of the main verb helped, it will remain the same. After that, by, then the subject will become object. He will become him. Then the question mark. Do not forget to give the question mark at the end. Okay, so the answer is Have you been helped by him? I hope, students, that you have understood that why I have used here have. Again I am telling, because you, it is written, you. So that is why it is written in second person. Okay, so you. So after you have to use have. You cannot use in present tense, you cannot use has. Okay, then you, so that is why I have used here have. Have you been helped by him? Okay, so next, had he finished the work? Question mark. In passive voice, the work, it is the object, he, subject, had finished. That means it is written in past perfect tense, had finished. So subject will come to object's place, object will come to subject's place. The work I have written over here. So before the work, only had. Past perfect tense is very easy. Only had. There is no difficulties, nothing you have to remember. Only had. If it is written had, then in return in passive voice we will be writing had only. Only been you have to add. Okay. Had the work been, after that the third form of the past participle form of the main verb, finished by him? Question mark. Had the work been finished by him? Question mark. So this is the answer. I hope that you have understood rule number 3. Now come to, let us move to rule number 4. In rule number 4, we will be discussing about the future tense. Okay. And also we'll be discussing about that if there are a can or shall or will, how will you be writing these kinds of sentences? How will you be transforming this kind of active voices from passive into passive voice? Then what you have to do is that, let me read the first example. Can he do this work? Basic rule remains the same. This work is the object, he is the subject. Okay, can do, can is the auxiliary verb, do is the main verb. Okay, so this work will come over here, he will go over there. Okay, so can this work, can will remain can. This auxiliary verb will remain the same. Can, if it is, if the question starts with can, if the question starts with should, okay, the words will remain the same. Can, after that the object which has become over here subject. Can this work, after that be will be added. Okay, so in places of shall, will, can, should, would, we have to use be. Then the third form of the main verb done, after that by, after that him. So can this work be done by him? Question mark. Now come to the next example. Will you teach the children? Will you teach the children? The children and you is the subject, children is the object. So subject will become object and object will become subject. So it will also start with will, because I told you if it is shall, will, can, should, would is there, then you have to write that words only in passive voice. You have to start the passive voices with these words only. Only you have to add be after that, after the subject. Okay, so will, after that the children is the object, it will become subject, the children. After that be, because I told you in wherever you will be using shall or will or can or should or would, you have to use be. After that the third form of the main verb over here is teach. So what is the third form of teach? Past participle form of teach, taught. Teach, taught, taught. So will the children be taught by you? Okay, so will the children be taught by you? That is the answer. Okay, because will is written, that's why will. The children comes over here, becomes subject. After that be, okay, then the third form or the past participle form of the main verb taught, then by, then comes the subject will become object, you, question mark. Now let us move to rule number 5. If the interrogative sentences in active voice starts with why, when, how, who, then how will you write this kind of sentences in passive voice? Let me discuss this. So look at the first example. Who has done this work? So here we are not starting these sentences with any kinds of auxiliary verb like we have done before. Okay, I am not starting these words like am, is, or has, have, shall, will. I am not starting the sentences with these kinds of auxiliary verb. Okay, we are starting the sentences with who, which, when. Okay, this kind of WH words. So the first example over here is who has done this work. So if who is there in active voice, how will you change it in passive voice? If who is there, you have to write it by whom. After that, everything will remain the same. So students, we have been discussing that who has done this work. So whenever there will be who, you have to change it into by whom. After that, everything will remain the same. Has, after that this work, after that been, then done. Because it is the sentence is written in present perfect tense. So that is why it will remain in present perfect tense only. You cannot change the tense, I told you many a time. So has, after that the subject will become object. Object here becomes the subject, this work. And after that been, after that done. Here no subject has been mentioned, so that is why you do not have to mention subject only over here. So by whom has this work been done? Question mark. Okay. Next, when. If the word when is there, then you have to write only when. When did you do this work? Did. That means it is written in simple past. In simple past tense it is written. In simple past, what you will be writing? Was or were. You have to start. Remember, I told you that you have to start the sentence with was or were. So that is why here it starts with was. When was this work done by you? Okay, when was this work be done by you? Why was? Because it is written in simple past tense, so that is why was. After that the object will become subject, so that is why this work. After that the third form of the main verb, that is do, will become done. After that by, then comes the subject, that becomes object over here. And do not forget to give question mark at the end. If you do not give the question mark, then the sentence will be wrong. Okay, so please do give the question mark at the end in passive voice if it is written in interrogative sentences. Okay, so only this much for today, and we'll be discussing more about interrogative sentences in the next video. Okay students, thank you.